friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Zita, and on my channel I do DIYs and makeovers on a budget. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at OakWell Home. So let's get started on today's DIYs and see what I've created. Here I'm going to make some wooden trees out of some scrap wood that I had laying around that wasn't really straight. It had a curvature to it, so it worked perfectly for these trees that I wanted to make. So I cut 3 different sizes, large, medium, and small, and so I'm gonna use my jigsaw to cut out these trees. And don't let the tools intimidate you guys. Just, make sure you practice safety. Like I have my safety glasses on here, so no wood gets in my eyes, so make sure you're doing that. So here I'm cutting out the trees that I measured out, and this is what I've got. I've got 3 different sizes from small to large. So now I'm just going to sand them down a bit just to smooth them out around the edges, and once I have that done, I'm going to use some Mod Podge to apply some fabric. And the fabric that I'm using here are placemats from the Dollar Tree. Actually, no, these are from the Dollarama. So if you don't live in Canada, I don't know if you could find these type of placemats at your Dollar Tree in the States. But these are from the Dollarama, and I got 3 different styles of fabric. So I'm going to put a white and a red, as you can see here. I'm going to put that on the large one, and I traced around my wood with a pen and marked out where I need to cut. And I did apply fabric to the front and the back. And a couple of the pieces on the back, I applied the fabric, I cut the fabric on a bias. So once you see that, let me know in the comments whether you like the straight across kind of look, or if you like it cut on a bias. So here I'm putting some Mod Podge in a little container, and I'm going to apply that to the wood and then apply my fabric. Now you can apply fabric to you can apply Mod Podge to the top of the fabric as well, but I didn't do that. I just wanted the brightness of the fabric. I think when you apply the Mod Podge to the top of the fabric, it's just going to dull the fabric a little bit. So I didn't apply the Mod Podge to the top, I just put it on the bottom. So here I've cut out a green placemat, apply that to the middle one, and then I'm going to cut out my 3rd placemat and apply that to the smallest one. Now guys, if you're making these and you want to use napkins or something like that, I would suggest applying your Mod Podge from the center and working out on each side. With the fabric, I didn't really have to do that because the fabric is much easier to work with, but with napkins you could probably rip the napkin. I find for myself anyway that it's easier to work from the center out with when you're working with napkins or decoupage paper because it's thinner. But the fabric, I just applied the Mod Podge straight to the wood and then just put the fabric over the top. So here I'm cutting out my 3rd piece for the smallest tree. What do you guys think of these placemats? Aren't they awesome? You could do all the same color as well, but I wanted to go the 3 different colors. And there's so many different ways of making these trees over. Like you could do fabric, you could do decoupage paper, you could do napkins, you could do sweaters, paper. You could do music paper or a newspaper. So there's all sorts of ways you could dress these up. Let me know in the comments how you would have dressed these up. Would you use fabric or would you use some other method? Aren't they beautiful, guys? Simple to make, and they look really high-end. I'm loving these. And you could also put sticks on the bottom of these and make them look taller. I chose that method. So this is what the wood looked like, and now they look 100% better. They look like high-end Christmas decor that you would buy in an expensive store. Here I have the buffalo check plaid on my tray as well. My next DIY here, I'm going to be making some cone Christmas trees. So right here I'm using a paper to shape out the cone first. I'm just applying some tape to shape it out and hold it in place. And I'm going to put a piece of tape on the top there as well where the hole is, because I'm going to be using a foam to spray inside of these, so to make them more solid. So here I'm just shaping them out. So this is the foam that I'm using, type foam, and this is used for pipes and stuff for plumbers, I believe. I've never used it for this. I'm using it for Christmas trees. And it does come with that straw, and it screws on, so it'll come it won't come like that. You have to screw it on and then just shake it up and make sure your straw is like way down towards the end of the cone. So this was my first time using this, guys, and I filled it right to the top, not realizing that it expands quite a bit. So you'll see here later how much it expands. So I saw it expanding as the first one was sitting there, so I didn't put as much in the second and the third, but close to the top, but not quite. And it still overflowed quite a bit. And you'll see that coming up here. And as you'll see here, I'm putting that straw in the bottom there because I didn't put my straw down far enough when I was going inside there, so the top wouldn't have been solid. So I just took off the tape at the bottom and sprayed it in from the bottom. So here's the next day. I did let this dry overnight. I think the can says 4 hours or something like that. So they look like ice cream cones right there. So I did cut that off with an X-Acto knife, and now I have some nice solid cones for myself. So right here I picked up this yarn at the dollar store, and I did go a different route after this, but I just wanted you to see what the green wool look like with the red. I was going to do all three with a green and a red, but I went a different route because this wool was very thin, and I remember that I had some thicker wool laying around that had some sparkle in it, so I went with that. But I wanted you to see what that looked like with the green, and then I applied some little felt balls to it. So this is the other wool that I found that I had on hand, and this one is a silver, a black, and a white, and it had some sparkly thread in there. Doesn't that look beautiful? I love it. And it was much quicker and much easier to apply than the green one. So I just applied the black and silver over the green, two green that I already had done there. And then the last one I applied the silver and black and gray there. Don't they look beautiful? I love these. These were so simple to make. So if you guys haven't tried any of that type foam for any of your projects, this is one project that you could use it for to make some Christmas trees. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of these? Do you like the green, or do you like this black and silver and white? This thrifted cupboard door that I picked up from the Habitat for Humanity, and I have some gift tissue paper that I picked up at a dollar store that has probably been in my stash for probably 15 or more years that I was using for Christmas gifts, but I kept one of these tissue papers for myself because I loved it so much. It has a snowman on it, which you'll see coming up here. So this cupboard door I thrifted from the Habitat for Humanity, like I said, and it wasn't painted or anything, had no knob holes in it, so it was perfect to make a sign with. So I'm going to be making this beautiful Christmas sign for you today. First, I'm going to be painting out the center with a white chalk paint, and I'm just putting the tape around there so I don't get any on the outer edges of the cupboard door, the frame portion, which I'm going to paint a different color. So this is homemade chalk paint that I'm using, guys. So if you haven't tried homemade chalk paint before, I'll leave that video link in my description box, and you can try making it for yourself, and it's so much less expensive. So I put about 2 coats of chalk paint on this, and now I'm giving it a light sanding with a sanding sponge, and then I'm going to wipe away that dust. So once that's dry, I'm going to take off the tape, and then I'm going to put some more tape on it on the inside here, some thicker tape, because knowing myself, I am going to paint outside the lines. So I'm taping it up here, and I'm going to put some paper down in the middle so I don't get any paint that I'm going to be using here on the inside portion of this sign. So once I have that all taped down, I'm going to be using a darker color for the frame. So I'm making sure every little thing is covered up there, because if there's a space, my paintbrush will find it. So I'm putting some paper down too. The tape can't be thick enough for me. So I'm using this Fusion Midnight Blue. It's a beautiful navy color, and I'm loving it. So I think I only put a couple of coats of this on, but you could probably get away with 1 coat, because this Fusion paint gives you really awesome coverage. What do you think of this blue color, guys? It's gonna look awesome with the tissue paper that I'm gonna put on in the center, that I'm gonna Mod Podge on. So like I said, I did put 2 coats of this on, but I could have gotten away probably with 1, because this Fusion paint gives awesome coverage. So if you haven't tried this Fusion paint before, guys, give it a try. So once I have that all painted up and it's dry, I gave that a light sanding with my sanding sponge as well. And then gave it a wipe down and wiped away that dust. So you'll want to do that, guys, so don't leave any dust on your work before you decoupage. So now that that's dried, I'm taking the tape off, and I'm ready to do my decoupaging of my beautiful tissue paper here. This is so gorgeous, guys. This, I kept this just because I love the print. I was like, I want to do something with this one day. I just wanted to look at it every Christmas. And this is, you know, I wasn't doing any decoupage back in the day. So when I was cleaning up my Christmas stuff, I found this and I thought, I am going to use this for a sign. This is going to be so beautiful. Now, guys, if I had my time back, like I said, this has been in a package for a while, so you got some creases going on here. So I wish I kind of would have ironed this out, like put your parchment paper over the tissue paper and iron it out, like so it doesn't have any creases, but I'll do that the next time. So if you guys are going to be using some, I got this from the dollar store years ago, so if you're going to be using something like this and there's creases in it, maybe iron it out first, but make sure you put your parchment paper over the top so you don't burn the paper. So here I'm cutting out my tissue paper, and this is not really thin, but it's not overly thick either, so you want to be careful. And you can also use decoupage paper or napkins as well. Now, I also want to try in the future, like applying my Mod Podge first, let it dry overnight, and then putting my decoupage paper or dollar store tissue paper like I have here, and then using the iron. I haven't tried that method yet, and I want to try it, and I think it would have worked really well for this sign. So right here, I've put some Mod Podge down, and I'm using a disposable shower cap that I got from the dollar store. The plastic on that is really smooth, guys, so it's really nice for doing decoupage because it's not, a really heavy, thick kind of bag that is going to rip your paper. This plastic is really soft. So I'm going to go all the way across, like a little bit at a time, and then press down the paper with my shower cap, or you can use, some saran wrap as well, or a soft bag if you have one, soft plastic bag. So I'm just going to keep working my way down until everything is applied. And then I'm going to let that dry overnight, guys. I'm not going to apply my top coat right away because I don't know, I find it better to let it dry overnight, but sometimes you don't always have time to do that when you're trying to get projects done, especially when you're doing YouTube videos, or you want to get something done for a gift for someone. You don't have time to let it dry overnight, but I had time to let this dry overnight, and then I applied my top coat the next day. Now, as you can see here in the corner, there's a little bit of white showing, like at the top, so I'm going to apply some of that navy color paint later on, and you'll see later on too that I did kind of rip the paper a little bit while I was sanding it. But here I'm cutting off any of the excess paper, and I'm applying a little bit of that navy paint there in the corner. And now I'm going to apply some of these IOD stamps before I put my top coat of Mod Podge on as well. So there's some room there in the bottom of this tissue paper, so I thought it would be nice to put something there. So I'm putting Let It Snow, since it's snowing in this beautiful picture. Isn't it gorgeous? I just absolutely love this tissue paper. I'm not surprised that I kept it. It's really fun. And I'm keeping this sign for myself, guys. I'm not going to sell it. So I'm spelling out Let It Snow, and I'm placing it where I want on the picture. And then I'm using my, what do you call this here? This plastic mat for sticking these stamps on. The name has escaped me right now. What the heck is this called, guys? I've lost my memory for a second. Anyway, you see what it is. It's the plastic grid for applying stamps. So I'm making sure it's pressed on there good. And then I'm using a navy ink that's going to tie in nicely with the navy in the picture. And then I'm going to stamp that down. And now I'm wiping off any excess ink on the outside of the words there before I stick it down. Now, guys, and you notice there where it says let, and then the T is missing because there's only you know, one of each letter, so I'll have to apply that T afterwards. And I applied it a little too close, but it still turned out okay. I'm using a block here to apply the T. It gets a little closer than the other letters, but it still looks good. So, and guys, don't apply your Mod Podge or your sealer on top of this ink before it dries, because it will smear. I can guarantee you that, because I did it in another project recently that I applied ink to, and then I waited till the next day, actually close to 24 hours, but the inks smeared when I put the Mod Podge on it. So this did not, and maybe it's a different type of ink that I used that made the other one smear. So here I'm using an X-Acto knife to get off that excess tissue paper in the corner, but I guess some of it was stuck with the Mod Podge pretty good there, and I ripped off some of the paper there on the side with my sanding block. So I'm just gonna paint that in with some of the navy paint too, which, you know, turned out good because it kind of blends in nicely, so it was okay. I didn't ruin it, but so just be careful of that, guys. And if you have any tips for me on how I can prevent that from happening, because it was really hard to get off there with that little knife there that I had. It was really tough. Like, it was, I guess it was stuck to the sides with some of the Mod Podge. That's why I started using the sanding block. So if you guys have any tips for me, let me know in the comments what will be a better way for me to do that. You know, I've made signs before. I haven't had that much trouble, but maybe I was sanding a little too hard. I don't know. So this is the next day. I'm applying my top coat of Mod Podge, guys, and it did not smear that ink, so I let that dry for over 24 hours. So I'm not sure if different inks will give you different results or not, but if not, you can also spray a little Rust-Oleum clear coat on top of that ink before you put, and then let it dry before you put your Mod Podge on. That way you know it's not going to smear. So now, guys, I'm going to apply some IOD snowflakes on the top there and on the frame, and it's my first time using these snowflake molds. I think this one is called Blitz. Too much cornstarch came out there, so you're going to want to put some cornstarch in these so your clay doesn't stick. And I'll have to empty some of that out because it too much spilled out there. So you just need a little bit. So you'll see me dump some of that out. Now I'm just pressing my clay in, and once I have it pressed in and it's in all the little nooks and crannies of the design, snowflake design there, I'm going to scrape that off with a palette knife. Now you don't have to do that, because sometimes you can kind of make a little scoop in it if you go down too low, like you'll see me do there. I add some more clay in there. You can just do this with your fingers too. So I'm gonna place some of these snowflakes on my frame in different areas, and I'm actually gonna glue this down while it's still you know, when I just pull it out of the mold, instead of letting it dry and then applying it to my frame. I am going to apply it while it's still wet. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing and click that notification bell to get notified when I post new videos. I have some more awesome Christmas videos coming up in the next few weeks, so make sure you click that notification bell. And also, don't forget to give me a like and a comment and let me know how you like this project so far and what you think of the final result. So here I'm just placing my molds, and like I said, I still wanted to place this while it was wet and not let it dry right off the bat, because I am placing one of these snowflakes over the frame, so it needs to mold into the frame. And these are a little delicate when you take them out, so you'll see me use my little artist spatula here to kind of lift them up to put some glue on them. So I'm just placing them where I want, and then I am going to put some, I think I put some wood glue on the back, and they're holding up really well. And I'm just adding some more snowflakes there, so I'm just pressing some more down into my molds. And guys, if you haven't tried these molds, give them a try. They're awesome. Such beautiful designs. Like, look at the detail on these snowflakes. And I just recently started using some of the IOD molds. I've got one of the trimming molds too, which I've used. So have you guys tried any of these molds? Let me know in the comments, what do you think of them? And if you've tried any other brands. Because these can get a little bit expensive, but they're going to last you a long time. Like, you'll probably have these as long as you're crafting, because they're made very, very well. If you're hearing some noises there in the background, guys, that's my dog. He likes to get active while I am editing videos. Anyone else have that experience? Yeah, he wants to jump in my arms. He wants me to play with them. So those little noises you hear in the background, that's my beautiful dog, Sam. He's a little cutie. You probably will see him in some of my videos, walking around or laying next to me. So here I'm putting on some wood glue and a little hot glue, and placing it over my frame, and I'm scooping those little ones up with my little spatula there and applying the wood glue and putting them in place. Now, most of these little ones I just used the wood glue because they were so tiny, and it worked out really well. After I've done this, I'm going to let it dry overnight and let it harden up like it has here. And now I'm going to put some clear wax on all of these snowflakes, and just because I'm going to be using some antiquing wax on top of this, so I'm using the clear wax first. Just, it's easier to wipe away any of your mistakes if you don't like the darker colors. Now I'm applying some white wax on them. Again, I was scared that it was the antiquing wax I'm going to put on next was going to be really dark on here, so that's why I put the clear and the white on there first. So here's the antiquing wax, and I'm using a brush. And at first I started out with a rag, but I thought the brush was a little easier. So I'm just putting it on the snowflakes. I'm trying not to get any outside. That's what it looks like. It's bringing out all that beautiful detail of the snowflakes. And now, guys, I'm going to use a gold on top of this. And oh my gosh, it turned out so beautiful. It ties in so nicely with the lighter colors of this picture, like the snowman and the snow, because it kind of looks like it has an antique-y look. So the gold just really takes this piece up a notch. And then I'm going to go around the inside and outside of the frame, and then I take a little brush also, guys, and go down along the side of the picture on the inside. And once all that was dry, I gave it a nice coat of that clear wax on the whole piece, guys. And this piece is done, and it's so gorgeous. I hope it gives you guys inspiration to create your own Christmas sign with some beautiful decoupage paper or napkins or dollar store tissue paper like I used here. So this is what it looks like. Christmas DIYs for you guys. I picked up this wood blank from my local Dollarama, and you can probably pick those up from the Dollar Tree as well. And these beautiful napkins here that say it's the most wonderful time of year, I picked these up at Walmart. They're beautiful, so you can make 4 signs from one napkin, guys. And these napkins were extra large, so they fit this wood blank perfectly. And I think this wood blank is an 8x8, I believe. So make sure you get all your plies of napkins off, guys. Some are 2 ply, some are 3 ply, so make sure you get all the plies off, or else your DIY is not going to work out. So once I painted my wood blank with some homemade chalk paint, I gave it a sanding once it was dry, and then I wiped away that dust and my workspace. And now I'm going to put my napkin on my painted frame. And you're going to paint it white, guys, so the picture on the napkin shows up really nice and bright. So I'm putting my Mod Podge on, and I start from the center out, and once I have a little bit of Mod Podge on, then I'm using this disposable shower cap that I pick up from the Dollarama that has a really soft plastic. Now you can use a really soft plastic bag as well to do this, or some saran wrap. And I smooth that out and try to get all the wrinkles out as best as I can with my little plastic shower cap there. So I keep working my way down and putting a little bit of Mod Podge on, and then using my plastic shower cap to smooth it out until I have it all applied. And then once that's done, I do let it dry, guys. I put some Mod Podge on top, and once the Mod Podge is dry, I sand it with a fine sanding block to get all that excess napkin off. And you'll see me here, guys. I thought I didn't Mod Podge over the tops, and I already did. So this piece got 2 top coats of Mod Podge. So now I thought this piece needed something else. So I'm using these beautiful IOD vintage texture is what these pieces are called. Now I've already cut them in 4s here, because there's 4 different textures in this pack. So I left it on the plastic that was on there, and that way it's easy to apply. And before you use these, guys, you're going to want to give them a light sanding with a 250 or 200 sand block, or a fine sandpaper. You're going to want to sand them before you apply your ink. So I'm applying a silver ink here, guys, that I picked up at the dollar store. And I'm applying it all over my piece here, and this looks awesome, guys. I am loving this. So there's 4 different textures in this package, like I said. So I'm just kind of applying it everywhere, and then once that's on there, you're going to want to let that ink dry. I'm kind of going around the edges there too to frame my piece out with the ink pad. And I do have some silver paint that I picked up from the dollar store as well, so I'm going to go around the edges here and give it some more silver and just frame it out. Now I did take that outside and spray my ink on top too, and let the ink dry, and this is what it turned out like, guys. Isn't this gorgeous? From a napkin, decoupage, and you got a beautiful Christmas sign for yourself. Look at that stamped texture on there. Doesn't that look gorgeous? This is a simple DIY, guys, and it doesn't cost that much. So go out and get yourself a blank frame from the dollar store, some napkins, and decoupage yourself a beautiful Christmas DIY. So the next DIY here, I'm using some scrap wood that I had laying around. If you don't have a saw or a cutter, you can use a hand saw. First, I'm measuring out my scrap piece of wood here with a ruler. I have an idea of how big I want this Christmas tree to be. And this is going to be a days until Christmas tree, guys, that you can make for yourself or for your kids. I'm giving this piece to my little niece so she can count down to Christmas, you know, until Santa comes. So this is how big my piece of scrap wood was. So I'm just measuring it out to make sure I can get a Christmas tree out of this piece here. So I'm using my miter saw here, my miter box, to cut down my scrap pieces of wood, and I'm measuring it out. Once I cut through my wood, I take that next piece and measure it so I can cut it on the 45-degree angle so you can get your tree shape. So guys, if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I have a lot of great Christmas DIYs coming up, and don't forget to hit that notification bell as well. That way YouTube will notify you when I post my videos. So I've cut all my pieces. I'm just cutting my last pieces there. Once these are all cut, guys, you're going to want to sand the sides so there's, you know, so it's nice and smooth and not going to get any nicks and cuts. So I did that with all my pieces, sanded them down. And once that was done, I'm just going to start gluing the pieces together with some wood glue. Now, one of these slats, these are trimming pieces, guys, that I picked up for free actually at my local hardware store that they had sitting there. So I didn't even pay anything for this wood. So go check your local hardware stores to see if they have any scrap wood in their scrap bin. So like I said, these were trimming pieces. So one piece was not flat, so it was not sitting well and it was not staying with the wood glue. So I also took my staple gun and stapled those pieces on the back, but then I took a dollar store popsicle stick, cut it down and made it fit my Christmas tree, and then I put some wood glue on that and glued it to my tree to keep it more stable. Now I'm going to paint it white. So I was going to go with white and then just outline it in the green, but after I painted it, guys, I changed my mind and I painted it green, so you'll see that coming up. So this is another piece of scrap wood that I have that I'm going to use as my base for the Christmas tree, and I painted that out. I did leave that portion white. So here I'm painting my Christmas tree green, and that is a hunter green that I picked up from the dollar store, and I gave that a couple of coats of paint. And now I'm going to paint my star that I found at the dollar store as well. I'm using this Fusion Ultra Grip, and it's a metal star, so you're going to want to put something on top of that because paint does not want to stick to metal. So I use the Fusion Ultra Grip. And now that my Christmas tree is painted and the base is painted, I'm using my nail gun here, guys. You're going to want to measure out how long your brad nails need to be before you nail them in there. Make sure you're practicing safety. Put your safety goggles on before you're nailing, and don't put your battery in until you want to nail your piece, guys. And once you're finished nailing your piece, take the battery out because you do not want kids getting a hold of these tools and injure themselves. So practice safety with tools. You can use them, guys, but respect them. Now I'm nailing my brad nails into the bottom. I put some wood glue on, but I want to make sure it's stable, that it doesn't fall apart. So I'm just, you know, making it more stable with my brad nails. And you're going to want to be careful where you put those brad nails, guys, because I'm going to show you here one of the nails kind of came out the side. So make sure your fingers are not in the way. So there's that brad nail. I do take that off because I did, you know, with my pliers, because I don't want any sharp things on this, you know, when I give this to my niece. So now I'm taking my IOD stamps, and these stamps are called letterpress. They're awesome, guys. There's 3 different sets of alphabet and, you know, like exclamation points and stuff like that in there that you can use for different projects. I'm using this top one, and it turns out beautiful. So once I get my letters spelt out there, now sometimes there's not enough letters, so you're going to need to go back in and and fill out your word. So I'm putting some white ink on my letters here, on my grid paper, my thin mount, and I'm going to place it where I want it, and it just barely fit there. So you're going to need to, you know, space out your words so everything fits in the space that you need. And look how awesome this turns out, guys. This letterpress stamps, you're going to get a lot of use out of that. So then I just take that S that I needed, that extra S, and I put some ink on that and just put it in place, and there it is. So I'm going to spell out all the words that I need, days until Christmas, and then at the top I'm going to put that star, and that's where she can write in the how many days are left. So I'm taking my thin mount there again, putting my ink on it, and centering it out on my Christmas tree, and gonna want to press this in firmly, guys, but not too heavy, because you don't want the ink to, you know, disperse out around your letters. And I went in there a second time and put that stamp in there, but sometimes you can, if you're doing that, you're taking a risk that you might not get your letters lined up. So then I'm gluing my star down, and guys, I painted it with the Fusion Ultra Grip first because I put some chalk paint on here. This is spray chalk paint, so I didn't get this on video. I took it outside and gave it a coat of spray chalk paint, and then just let that dry overnight. And then I also took my clear matte coat, Rust-Oleum clear coat, and sprayed that ink so it didn't smear. And I'm taking some dollar store wooden snowflakes here and putting it on. Now I think this needed something else, so I had some gold ink, and I do have some gold paint too, but I'm outlining this piece with some of the gold ink. And like I said, I sprayed that those words, that ink, with the clear Rust-Oleum spray, so it's not gonna smear. And I did let it dry overnight. So here I'm taking my gold paint and putting some more gold accent on here, that green, because I thought it needed something else, and it turns out so beautiful. And I also outlined the star and the base in the gold as well, just to tie everything in, guys. And it turns out beautiful. And you're going to want to season your chalk, guys, because if you write directly on that chalk paint, it's going to stain it. So you'll need to season it with the chalk, and you'll see me doing that coming up here, where I take a piece of chalk and go over that star with the chalk to season it, and then you can write on it and then erase it, and you're not going to, you know, it's not going to stain with that first writing that you put on there if you did not season it. So this is what it looked like before, guys, and here's what it looks like after, all ready for my niece to do her countdown to Santa. What do you think of this one, guys? Let me know in the comments. For my first DIY here, I'm going to be making over this old toolbox that I thrifted from the Habitat for Humanity for $5, and it was pretty beat up. So my first step here, I'm just going to paint it all over in the white interior paint that I have here, and the handle I'm going to paint in a black, and then I'm going to apply a botanical decoupage paper to the front and the back. And I did apply 2 coats of paint to this toolbox. So it's looking pretty clean there now with the 2 coats of white paint. So my next step now is to work on the handle. So now that it's all painted, I'm going to be applying a Tim Holtz Botanical Decoupage paper with Mod Podge. And if you notice there behind me, my puppy, he's chewing on his Christmas toy. So as you see in that video there, he when I was pulling out some of my decorations, he could smell that in there. I pack it away every year for Christmas, so it's like a new toy for him every year at Christmas time. So he smelled that in there, so that's what he's playing with there in the background. As you can see, he's pretty entranced with that. So right here, I've measured out some of the Tim Holtz Botanical paper, and it's very thin, so you can rip that with a metal ruler, as you see that I'm doing right here. And guys, sometimes I don't know what my dog is doing behind me until I actually edit these videos. But it's very cute. He's really loving that new old toy, I guess you could say. So right here I'm going to start applying the Mod Podge, and I like to work from the center out, and then so do one half and then do the other. I find it's less room for mistakes that way. And when you're applying your Mod Podge, apply a thin coat. Make sure you got good coverage, but make sure it's a thin coat, not overly thick. And right here, I'm just using an old shower cap to smooth out the decoupage paper. You can use a plastic bag as well. I find it works really good for smoothing out your paper. So right here I'm doing the other side of the paper, just applying a thin coat of Mod Podge and doing the same thing using my plastic here, in my case a shower cap that I'm using, and smoothing that out. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other side of the toolbox. So right here I'm just finishing up the other side, doing the same thing, applying a thin coat of Mod Podge and smoothing it out with that plastic. And once I have this done, you're going to see in the videos and the pictures how I dressed it up for Christmas, and it looks absolutely beautiful. I'm so impressed with this. I'm really loving that Tim Holtz Botanical Decoupage paper on here. I'm loving it. And it looks really nice with the Christmas decor in there. I think it looks very high-end. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the botanical paper on this toolbox. Would you guys have applied this to a toolbox or a different type of decoupage paper? Right here I'm just touching up a little bit of the Mod Podge, so make sure you apply your Mod Podge on top of the paper after. I like to sometimes let it dry overnight before I apply that top coat of Mod Podge. Find there's less room for the paper to rip that way. But doesn't that look beautiful? I am loving it. So this is what it looked like, guys. Pretty broken up there and beat up. And now it looks like this high-end Christmas decor for your home. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I am loving it. For my next high-end DIY here, guys, these are a couple of galvanized metal lanterns that I picked up at the thrift store. So I decided to grab these and just make them over. So I'm going to paint these in a black. So they have the candles inside there that are battery operated, and they did work. So right here I am cutting out some paper, cardstock paper, to fit the glass. I tried to remove the glass, but it was kind of hard, so I decided just to stick some paper in here, and then I'm going to take them out on my patio and spray paint them with a black paint. So this is what they look like with the cardstock on the outside and the inside, so none of the spray paint gets on the glass. So make sure you have on your mask there to protect yourself from that spray paint. And I'm using a Bear spray paint right here for this project in the black. So as you can see here, though, that spray is everywhere, so make sure you have your mask on and your safety goggles. So right here I'm just removing that cardstock paper, and that worked out really well, and very little spray paint got on the glass. I was able to remove it with a an X-Acto knife. Just a little bit that did get on there, but as you can see, it's pretty clear that cardstock paper worked great. And doesn't it look so much better in the black? It looks like a total different piece, and I think it looks so much more high-end than in the galvanized. So this is what it looks like with the candles inside there, but now I'm going to dress these up for the Christmas season. So right here I'm just measuring out the inside, and I'm going to put some foam board inside, and then I'm going to put a Christmas scene inside. So now that I have the foam boarded there, I'm going to put my Christmas scene inside. So right here, I'm just using some snow. This is a sheet of snow that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to lay that down over my foam board and then add my Christmas scene. And I'm going to add a couple of bottle brush trees in there that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, and also a little sparkly red bench, as you'll see coming up here. They are so awesome. Here are the bottle brush trees, guys, that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. So who else is into bottle brush trees this season? I am absolutely loving them. They're so simple, but they make such an awesome statement. And you can put them anywhere in your home. I bought a whole bunch of these, so I'm going to be decorating different parts of my home with these. And I got them in different colors as well. So have any of you guys picked up any of these bottle brush trees this season? So here are the sparkly red benches that I mentioned, and I picked these up at the Dollarama, and they did have a couple of picks on them, so I took those off. Thought it was too much, and I'm going to use that decor piece that was on the bench. I'm just going to put that at the top of the lanterns, and it's not overly done. It's just that nice size of piece that doesn't take away from the scene inside. Now, look like, what a huge difference. What do you guys think? Isn't that Christmas scene so cute, along with my dog here? And I did add a few snowflakes that I picked up at the dollar store. I added those to the bench and a few around the snow to just make it look more festive. And here it is with the candles with the wreath around. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what it would look like with just the candles in there and make that look Christmassy. So I put a wreath around the candles, and that dresses them up for the Christmas season. So guys, let me know in the comments what you guys thought of these two projects today. Do you guys think they look high-end? Let me know in the comments. For this next DIY, I picked up this little frame from the Dollar Tree, and it has some metal XOX in there, so I'm assuming that it was maybe a craft for Valentine's Day or something, or maybe it was stuck on there and came off. So I took that off, and yeah, so maybe there was a piece of glue there that I took off it, but anyway, it worked well for a little Christmas sign that I'm gonna make. So I'm putting my homemade chalk paint on the black portion, and that was kind of shiny, so I was thinking maybe I should have put like a Fusion Ultra Grip on there so the paint would stick easier, but I put a couple of coats on there and it was fine if I had to put a couple of coats because I was putting a napkin on there anyway. So these napkins I picked up from, I'm not sure if these are from the dollar store or if maybe from Walmart, maybe. I think maybe they might be from Walmart. And I cut it down to fit inside there, and I'm really sorry about my head getting in the way quite a bit in these shots here, guys. So so I'm just cutting down the napkin and making it fit inside, and then I'm going to apply some Mod Podge and let that dry, and then I'm going to apply that little wreath there that you see on the side with the deer on it, and that is from the Dollar Tree. So if you want to pick up one for yourself, that's where I got that. And so here I'm applying my Mod Podge, and gonna fit that in, and there's my head again. I'm so sorry about that. I guess I didn't realize my camera was so far out. I usually watch out for that kind of stuff, but I guess I was just too into making that craft and was not worried about the video. Anyway, so while I'm getting that done, let's talk about if you've subscribed yet. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button. It's free, no cost to you, and you can also hit the notification bell. That way YouTube will notify you when I post new videos. I have lots of awesome ones coming up. So the Mod Podge has dried, and I'm putting my top layer on here, and now I'm using my craft knife here to cut it, and a little piece came off there, so I just tacked that on again with some Mod Podge, And there's my head again. Now I'm applying some glue around this wreath with the deer. And then I'm just going to stick that inside. And now I'm going to dress up that deer a little more. I think he needed a little bit more. His face was looking a little blank there, I thought. And I thought I'd put some of these red berries from this garland that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. So I just snipped a couple pieces off there and put that on his neck. There was also like a little red bell looking thing on his neck already, but I thought it needed something else. And I'm putting some glue on his nose, and I'm putting a little foam red ball there for his red nose. So I guess this is Rudolph. And I don't know about you, friends, but I don't like things without eyes. I just never have my whole life. I don't like figurines without eyes. I don't like anything without eyes, and lots of times I will paint eyes on it. I just think it gives it more of a soul when it has eyes on there. And as you can see there, I put that wreath in the wrong way, and so I took that backing off. So that's what it looked like before with the little black chalkboard, and this is what it looks like now, friends. What do you think of this cute little piece? Great shelf sitter, or to put on your wall, or to give as a gift, or for resale. Let me know in the comments what you think of this one. For this next DIY, I picked up this wood panel from the Dollarama, and it was a couple of bucks there, as you can see. And first I gave it a couple of coats of white chalk paint, and you've heard me say this many times, if you haven't made homemade chalk paint before, I'll put that video in my description box. Now I'm pulling out a napkin here from my binder of napkins, so subscribe and you'll see a bunch of projects being made with all those napkins that I have. And I will leave a 10% off coupon code in my description box. I got a lot of these from Ninny Napkins. Some I get from the dollar store as well, or Walmart. But these ones are from Ninny Napkins. Remove all 3 plies of your napkin. If you don't, it's going to bubble up and it's going to ruin your project. So make sure you get all those plies off. Sometimes they're 2 and sometimes they're 3. These are 3. So once that's done, I'm using the iron-on method with this one. And I'm applying a thick coat of Mod Podge. I'm going to let that dry overnight. You don't have to wait overnight. You could probably let it dry for a few hours and then try this iron-on process here. So I'm putting my thick coat on, and once that's dry, I am going to iron on my beautiful fox napkin. I absolutely love this napkin. It's a fox in the winter time here. He's got some snow on his face, and almost couldn't give this one away. I gave this to someone for a gift. And but I had a hard time parting with this one. It turned out so great, and I just love the picture of that fox. Let me know in the comments what you think of this beautiful picture. He has such a sweet, beautiful face. So here I'm putting parchment paper over the top of the napkin so you don't burn the napkin, and the Mod Podge has dried. So what this iron heat in the iron is doing is reactivating that glue and making the napkin stick, and it comes out so beautifully smooth. And there's no don't put your iron on steam setting. So see how smooth that turned out. Now I'm using my Polyvine wood varnish, and I'm using a very, very soft brush here, but this is one from the Dollar Tree, and I think some of the hairs were coming off this one, but they kind of you know, kind of worked out well because they blended in well with the color of the fox, but otherwise it would have not looked good. But a few pieces of hair came off that brush. I don't think that was in the print of the napkin. So here I'm mixing up some my homemade chalk paint and some baking soda. I'm not measuring anything out. I'm just making a thick paste here. I added some more paint in here as well to just thin it out a little bit more, and I think I put a little bit more baking soda in after this. But I'm making a thick paste so I can put around the frame, around that napkin, because you know, it looks like I just stuck a napkin on a frame. And if the napkin was the size of the frame, that would be okay. I could just leave it like that, but I didn't want it to look like I just stuck the napkin into the frame and didn't finish it. So around the napkin, I'm going to create a beautiful border, and you'll see how amazing this turns out. And you're going to want to try this technique because it's so awesome. So it's kind of looks like it's a snowy border, and it really works out well for this print because I thought it really ties in nicely with this fox with the snow on his face, and the border kind of turns out to look like snow. So what I'm doing is applying this all around the frame. Now this did kind of start to harden up quickly, so I think if I was to do this again, I would put a little bit more paint in it and less baking soda, but it turned out amazing. So I'm applying this all around the napkin, all around to the edge of the frame, and once that is dry, and I let it dry overnight, and then I'm going to come in and give it a few coats of wax in some different colors so I can match up the beautiful face of that fox. So this is what it looks like. This is before it's dry, and you'll see coming up here what it looks like again once it's dry. So it dried really hard. Now a little bit of that will brush off because it's, you know, it is baking soda and paint. So, but doesn't it look like snow? So here I'm applying a clear coat of wax because I'm going to be applying some antiquing wax after this. And what the clear coat does is, you know, gives you room to be able to wipe off some of the antiquing wax if it's too dark. And you'll see here that it does kind of turn out a little darker than I wanted it to look. So this clear coat really gives you the room to remove some of that wax. So if you have a project and you don't want to put too much dark wax on there, put a clear coat on first, and this will help you out with that. It will allow you to remove some of the dark wax if you want. So once I put this antiquing wax on, I thought it was a little too dark. I'm dabbing some off here, but I still thought it was too dark even after dabbing some of it off. So what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to apply some white wax, which you'll see coming up here. And that really softens out the dark wax and makes it almost a perfect color to match the fox, and like his red hair and then the brown on his neck. Isn't he beautiful? I just love him. I almost had a hard time giving this guy away, so I might have to make one of these for myself and maybe try this baking soda and paint technique again. So I'm applying that white wax all around here, and then this beautiful piece is finished. Let me know what you think of this technique, guys, and I hope all of these projects today gave you guys inspiration to create something beautiful for yourself, or to give it as a gift to your family members or friends, or something you want to do for resale. Here, to finish this piece out, I'm applying some antiquing wax along the sides so it doesn't look like a stark wax. So let me know in the comments what you think of all of these projects today and which one was your favorite. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for sharing some of your time with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Today I have 4 beautiful Christmas ornaments that I'm going to create, and the first one I'm going to start with here are some recycled lids from some tin cans, and I've used a can opener so those tops won't be sharp, so you'll need the right can opener for that. I think it's the one that cuts on the side. And I'm using a Fusion Ultra Grip here first, and I'm going to let that dry. That way your paint will stick easier to your lids, because chalk paint or any kind of paint doesn't stick well to metal. So I'm using this Fusion Ultra Grip first, and this works really well. So I'm giving my lids a few coats of chalk paint. Now, I'm going to be creating some lollipops here. I probably didn't really need to do this. I may have been going to use a marker or something first, and that's why I painted them. And you'll see later on me using a marker if you don't have any wool or any cotton cord like I'm using here. So this is some cotton cord that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. And I'm using a red, and I didn't have any white yarn at the time I made this one, so I'm also going to use a twine, a thicker twine that I had on hand. So I'm just using my hot glue gun to go around the lid with my first strand of the red cotton cord. So I just do one strand of that, and then I'm going to take my twine and go around the next loop, and then the red, and then the twine, until the whole thing is filled up like you see me doing here. So I made a couple of these, and the second one I used the red cord and then this beautiful white yarn with some metallic thread through it. And you'll just see in the end here, once I show them on the tree, how they both turned out. So once I have that side done, I do go on the opposite side and complete that too. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I did. And I'm using some lollipop sticks here that I thrifted. And I'm just going to glue that to the back, and then I'm going to start with my red cord and my twine going all the way around again, and that's going to cover up that stick. And once that's done, I'm going to use some cellophane cookie bags that I picked up from the dollar store, and I'm going to wrap the lollipop in that, and then just tie some red and white, it's not jute, some twine, and around the lollipop stick, and they turn out beautiful. These are so whimsical, guys. So if you enjoy whimsical little ornaments like this, go ahead and make some of these from some recycled tin lids, and you got a really inexpensive ornament for yourself. So here I'm just cutting the bag down to fit the lollipop, and then like I said, I'm just going to tie some red and white jute around there to match the lollipop, and these are so fun to make. So go grab yourself some recycled lids and make some of these for yourself. These are fun for kids too, I think, but I love them myself too. Let me know in the comments what you think of this first ornament. For this next DIY, I'm going to be doing a reverse decoupage on this bauble that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. And I have these beautiful napkins here from Ninny Napkins with some a mother dog and her pups in the back of a red truck with a Christmas tree. Beautiful napkins. So if you like to order some like this or some other beautiful napkins, I'll leave a 10% off coupon code in the description box. So first, what I'm going to do here with this bauble is apply some Mod Podge to the area that I want to apply my napkin. And while that's still wet, I'm going to stick my napkin down, and I'm going to cut that into a round shape first, which I should have done before I applied my Mod Podge, but it didn't take too long to cut it. So, and if you want to use, you know, a round piece of wood or something to help you get it more round, you can do that as well. And what I'm doing here is ripping my napkin so when I lay it down it doesn't get as wrinkled, because it does have that rounded edge, and that's going to make it fit a little better. So I'm going to smooth out that on my bauble, and then once that's done, I'm going to apply a top coat to the napkin. And once that top coat of Mod Podge is dry, then I'm going to apply a couple of coats of white paint. And when I do that, that is going to bring the image brighter from the front. So as you can see here, it doesn't look very clear right now with just the Mod Podge, but once you apply that couple coats of white paint, let it dry in between coats, that is going to make your image a lot more brighter. So once I have my 2 coats of paint on there and that's looking the way I want to, now the back is looking a little wrinkled, so what I'm going to do now is apply some acrylic paint with some baking soda in there. I just keep some on my craft desk in a bottle. So I'm going to stir that up, and I'm going to apply that to the back with I have this dollar store sponge brush here. If you have a round one, that would probably work better. But I'm going to apply that all the way around, and I'm kind of making an edge of baking soda paint along the edge of the bulb as well, just to give it some texture. So that is going to give your bulb a little more texture, and you're not going to notice the wrinkle in the napkin as much. So here I'm putting some Fusion Ultra Grip on my tops there, and then I'm painting it gold. And as you can see, the print is much more brighter now with that paint on there. I'm just going to put some snowflakes inside there, and then put my top on, and then a beautiful bow. And before I apply that bow, I'm just going to take a gold marker, and then I outline that edge, and this is going to give this bauble a little more finish look. So now I'm going to apply this bow, and I thrifted this ribbon at the thrift store. I've had it in my stash for a while. So I'm just making a bow here, and this is going to make the piece look a little more elegant. And this ribbon has that vintage look. So let me know in the comments what you think of this one. Aren't those puppies adorable? For this next ornament, I ordered some of these wood rounds with the bark around the edges from Amazon. Now I did make a few different styles of ornaments with these, but for this one I'm going to be making some snowmen with some earmuffs, and they turned out so adorable, so cute. So I painted all of those. I painted the front and the back. And once those were dry, you'll see that I'm going to paint some snowman faces on my wood rounds. And I'm just using a black marker and an orange marker for the nose, and kind of centering it out from that hole there that you see on the bottom. That's kind of what I use for my center. And then I'm making my carrot nose with my orange marker, and then going in and making the mouth with my black marker, permanent marker again. And that turns out really nice. So once I have that done, I'm going to take some pipe cleaner in silver and glue them to the sides. And then I have my pom-poms here that I picked up at the dollar store, and I'm going to glue those to the sides of the silver pipe cleaner, and then take my jute twine and put it through the top of the hole, and this one is done. This is a simple and easy ornament to make, and it is so cute and so beautiful. I love these, and you'll see that I made a few different ones with the different colored pom-poms. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please hit that subscribe button, and you can also hit the notification bell, and that way YouTube will notify you when I post new videos. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, friends. That would mean the world to me. So let me know in the comments, once you see these finished snowmen with the earmuffs, what you think of these, and which one was your favorite color earmuffs. For this next ornament, I'm going to be making this whimsical snowman from these blocks that I picked up at the dollar store. So I'm just going to paint them all white first and then let them dry. I think I gave these a couple of coats of white paint because I wanted it solid white. So once the paint was dried on these, I took my wood glue And I also used some hot glue as well to give it a quick stick, but I did use my clamp to clamp them all together so that wood glue would be held on there tight and it wasn't going to come apart. So once I had all my wood glue on there and they were clamped in place, then I'm going to start out with my snowman face. And once again, I use my permanent marker and my orange marker and to make the snowman's face, and then I put some buttons on him with the permanent marker as well. So I start putting his face on while it's still clamped up. So I thought might as well get some portions done while this wood glue is waiting to dry. So once I had his face on and his nose, I cut some fabric from a placemat that I had from the dollar store and to make his scarf. And you can see me using my pencil here. I guess I don't trust myself in making a triangle nose. I'm not the greatest artist, but I keep on practicing every day. And his nose turned out great. So I don't think I needed that pencil. But if you feel like your triangles or your artwork is not that great, go ahead and use a pencil first. So I'm just giving him his mouth here as well. So like I said, I'm going to use an old Christmas placemat that I picked up at the dollar store. I'm just cutting a little strip off that, and that's going to be his scarf. I'm just fitting that under the clamp there, and I'm getting that done while the blocks are drying. So I just keep on working here. I'm just going to glue that scarf in place so it doesn't come off, and I'm just giving the bottom of the material some fringes, just cutting some fringes on the scarf just so it looks more like a scarf. And then I'm going to glue that in place, and it looks like I put his buttons on his body with my black permanent marker afterwards. I guess I forgot to put some buttons on him first. So I had some twigs in my fall decor there, so I just took one of those out and clipped it down. Now I'm going to make some arms for him as well. So I'm just going to take my drill and drill some holes into the side there and hot glue his twig arms in. Now you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I feel that the twigs make him look more whimsical. What do you think? And once those are glued in, now I want to give him his buttons on his tummy. And then I feel like he needs a hat as well. But in order to hang this ornament, now this ornament, because they're square blocks, you could just set them on a shelf, or use them as a shelf sitter on a tiered tray. But I'm just putting this hook in, and I just screwed that in. It's one of those little picture hooks. Then I put some hot glue, and I put one of those pom-poms on there again. I think I made that burgundy. And then I'm putting my twine through that silver hook that I put on there. You can't really see it because it's behind that pom-pom. And then this one is finished. Well, no, I'm just going to put another little white pom-pom. That's going to make his hat look more real. What do you think of this one, guys? Isn't he adorable? Well, thank you guys so much for sharing some of your time with me today. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and also go in my description box to find the playlist for all the other amazing creators. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. For this DIY, guys, I picked up this blank wood panel at my local dollar store, and I'm going to be creating a nativity scene sign, and I'm going to be using the iron-on decoupage method. So first you're going to want to paint your wood blank white, and I'm using a homemade chalk paint here, and if you guys haven't tried homemade chalk paint, I'll leave the video for my recipe in my description box. It works great and it's a lot less expensive. So I gave this a couple of coats. And then I let it dry. Now I'm putting a thick coat of Mod Podge on here. And I just recently started trying the iron-on method, guys, and I am hooked. It makes your napkins so smooth with less wrinkles. You might get like a little bit of wrinkles once you put your Mod Podge or your decoupage medium on top of the napkin after it's ironed on there, but I am loving how there's less wrinkles, and it's a much easier process because you're just letting that Mod Podge dry. And then you're going to get all your plies of napkins off. Then make sure you get all your plies off, guys, or your project will be messed up if you don't get all plies. Some of the napkins I get are 3 plies. Some are 2 plies if they're from the dollar store. So you want to make sure if they're 3 ply, you're getting all of those plies off and just have your print. So now I am putting my parchment paper on top of that napkin once I've lined it up on my piece. And I don't have a hot press, so I'm just using my iron. That works just as well, guys. So if you don't have a heat press, no problem. Just get your iron out. And look how smooth that is, guys. And now I'm putting this polyvine wood varnish on top. And this is much thinner than the Mod Podge. And so I'm using a very soft brush and I'm going very lightly. I'm not going really hard on that napkin because I don't want it to wrinkle up. So I'm just applying my coat of polyvine here, and see, not much wrinkles. Now I'm going to use this awesome burlap tape, guys. Now I found this at the Dollarama, so I know you guys in the States don't have a Dollarama, and I haven't seen this at the Dollar Tree yet. So I'm cutting off the burlap tape and folding it on the ends there so I know where to cut. And I'm going to apply that all the way around my frame. And this is going to be the frame portion for the nativity scene. So if you have some napkins, guys, and your wood piece is too big, you can do something like this to create a border for it. And you can kind of peel off little pieces of burlap from this, just like regular burlap too, guys. It's awesome, this tape. And if you're interested in some of these napkins, guys, I got these from Ninny Napkins, and I'll leave a 10% off referral code for you in my description box if you're interested in some napkins. They have so many beautiful napkins, and all the ones that you see me use in these projects today are mostly from Ninny Napkins. Some I got from the dollar store too. So you can always go to your local dollar store and check out to see what kind of napkins they have. So guys, I didn't want to overpower this piece with a big embellishment, but I thought it needed a little something extra. I didn't want to take away from that nativity scene, so I'm just putting a small embellishment on this one, just on the side, because I wanted that star to show as well. And this just sets off this piece. So this is going to be a nice, beautiful gift for someone in my family. So let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of this one. There's the blank wood piece, and here it is now. Isn't that gorgeous, guys? I absolutely love it. And I am loving this iron-on method. Let me know in the comments if you guys have tried the iron-on method. For this next DIY, guys, I have these clear plates that I've had for a number of years, so I thought I'd make some into some Christmas plates. So I wiped them down clean and got my napkins out. And these are 2-ply napkins from the dollar store. So I only had to take off 1 ply. And so I have my plate turned upside down here, guys, and I'm putting the Mod Podge on the bottom of the piece, okay? So you're going to put your Mod Podge down, and then for your napkin, guys, you're going to want to put the good side down on the Mod Podge, not the back portion, okay? So you're going to want to put the brighter side down on the plate. So this is what it looks like with just the Mod Podge. So I'm going to do 2 of these plates, and now I'm going to put this beautiful Christmas bulbs napkin. It has some words on that one too, so that one is really nice, and it's a little brighter. So you're going to use the same method. Apply your Mod Podge on the back side of the plate, the bottom side. Put your good portion of the napkin, like the brighter side, facing down, so that's what's going to show when you turn your plate over. So I'm smoothing out the napkins with my plastic shower cap here, which is very soft plastic, guys. I get these from the dollar store. Those are those disposable shower caps. So that's what it looks like when it's on there. It doesn't look really bright. So now you're going to put another coat of Mod Podge on top of this, and I let it dry, guys, before I apply my top coat. If you don't have time, you can go ahead and apply it right away. Now once it's dry, that top coat of Mod Podge is dry, I'm sanding down along the edges to get it smooth. Okay, so I want everything all nice and clean. So now I'm putting I think I put 3 coats of white chalk paint on top of this. So this is what's going to bring your napkin out, guys, like make it look nice and bright, is that white paint on the bottom. So I'm using the white chalk paint. Like I said, I think I gave this 3 coats. I let it dry in between coats, and once that was all dry, see how much brighter the napkin looks now than just with the Mod Podge. So that is going to bring the print of your napkin out. So once that was dry, I gave it a sanding again. Sanded off any paint along those edges. Now, guys, for these plates, they're just going to be wipeable. You can't put these in the dishwasher. So I'm going to put a couple of coats of polyacrylic on top of this chalk paint, and that's going to seal that chalk paint in, and it's going to make it so you can wipe this piece down with a wet cloth. But you know, these aren't for dishwasher or to be put in water. So this is what it looked like before, just a clear plate, and now, guys, you got a beautiful Christmas plate. Great gift to give. And if you want to know how to make those jars in the back there, I have those coming up in an upcoming video, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And this, guys, don't they look gorgeous? Look at the cookies on this. They're just gorgeous. Great gift, Christmas gift. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of these pieces. For this next DIY, this is a sign I picked up at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use it to make another sign. This is going to be a nice shelf sitter, and you might have saw a sneak peek in my latest video of this project. It's another napkin project. I'm going to use a decoupage iron-on method. Look at this beautiful napkin, guys. This one is from Ninny Napkins as well. So I'm applying my thick coat of Mod Podge on top. I'm going to let that dry overnight, or until it's dry. You don't have to let it dry overnight, as long as it's dry. And then I'm cutting out my napkin portion, and you can get 4 signs or 4 projects done with 1 napkin, guys. So These are great projects to do, to give as a gift or to make some Christmas decor for yourself. Or if you want to make them for resale. Great projects at a budget price. So again, once my Mod Podge was dry, I'm putting that napkin on top, putting my parchment paper on top. And guys, when you're putting your parchment paper on top, make sure you have your napkin in place, because I find that parchment paper kind of picks up the napkin, it's like some static cling, you know, so make sure it's in place before you put your parchment paper down. Now I'm putting another layer of Mod Podge on top to seal that napkin in. And once that's dry, I'm going to make it even better by touching it up and putting a border on the outside. And I'm using a green ink, so I'm going along the border there to frame that beautiful Christmas picture. Now to get that ink dry, I'm going to take that outside and spray a clear coat of Rust-Oleum on it and let that dry. And for around the frame, guys, I decided to use these IOD stamps and give this a crackle effect. And if you've watched some of my latest projects, you'll see me use these stamps in some other projects that turned out beautiful as well, where I use on a snowman sign. So if you haven't watched those videos, go check them out. Isn't that gorgeous, guys? It gives your project that just little bit extra. So I'm using the same green ink. And that kind of ties in with that napkin, guys, with the green in the napkin. This probably would have looked nice in a red as well. And because this napkin didn't fully fit on this little frame, I'm using that same stamp to go around. And now you would never know that that stamp didn't fully fit on there. Now I'm going to seal in that ink again with that Rust-Oleum clear coat and let that dry. Let it dry, guys, before you apply another coat of Mod Podge on that ink, or it will smear. So this is the before, and now, guys, look at this beautiful little shelf sitter. You can also put it on your wall. Great gift idea. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you thought of this process. For this next DIY, I'm going to be trying the iron-on decoupage method on these coasters. I've never tried that method on coasters. I've always just applied the Mod Podge and then my napkin. But my previous way that I did this was I would put a Fusion Ultra Grip on these tiles because they're slick, right? So you need something for your chalk paint to stick to. So I would apply a Fusion Ultra Grip and then a chalk paint, and then once the paint was dry, then Mod Podge, and then my napkin. So now I'm going to try this iron-on method. So I'm first applying my Mod Podge. I'm putting a thick layer of Mod Podge on there, letting that dry. Now I'm going to use this beautiful Cardinal napkin. Aren't these beautiful, guys? They look very Christmassy, don't they? So I'm cutting those into 4 to fit on my coasters. And I picked these tiles up from the Habitat for Humanity, guys. So if you're looking for some tiles for coasters, you can check out your local thrift store or Habitat for Humanity. And I've also, bought tiles that were colored and just painted them with chalk paint. But I found these white ones, so I wanted to give it a try just to see if just a Mod Podge would work, or if it was, I still needed to paint them with chalk paint even though they were white. But I wanted to give this method a try without painting them, just applying the Mod Podge. So now you see that one there was shiny, and this is what it looks like when the Mod Podge is dry. It has that matte look. And these coasters aren't completely flat, guys, if you haven't noticed that. They have kind of like a ripple in them, so they would have looked really beautiful on a wall. but I'm using them for coasters today. And so I'm applying my napkin down where I want it, getting it to fit on my coaster. And guys, make sure you're kind of hanging on to your napkin when you're applying your parchment paper on top, because that napkin will kind of cling to your parchment paper, and if you move your parchment paper, your napkin's going to move in a different place and may not be totally on your coaster. But I applied my iron on there, and oh, the napkin was so smooth, guys. Now you'll see coming up, it did not stay this smooth when I put my top coat on there. I applied a polyvine wood varnish on these napkins, and you'll see that it didn't completely stay smooth. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way YouTube will notify you when I have put a new video out. I've got some great projects coming up, and I've created some awesome projects previously. So if this is your first time here, go check out some of my videos. You'll see a lot of great projects that I've created. I've got some more Christmas ones coming up for the season. So hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, guys. And don't forget to give me a like and a comment on these videos. That way YouTube will share my videos more. So now I've applied the heat to this second coaster here. Aren't these Cardinals gorgeous, guys? So it's nice and smooth now. So now I'm going to apply my polyvine wood varnish here to and I'm using a very soft brush, guys, and I'm going very lightly along the napkin just so I can get less wrinkles as possible. And I always usually put about 4 coats of this on, guys. Like, let it dry and then put 4 coats. Then I thought, I'm going to try the polyacrylic on there. Well, that didn't really work out that great. It made them really shiny. And I think I ripped one of the napkins there and didn't notice it. So you'll see that. So this is why I'm using one of these IOD stamps, guys, because one of them was kind of ripped. You see that? And I did not notice it. And now it's dry and I can't get that off. So I'm going to cover up my mistake by using these IOD stamps. And as Bob Ross would say, this was a happy accident. It turned out beautiful with this gold crackle. I used a gold ink, guys. So if you do something like this, don't write off your project yet. You can use an ink of your choice of color. I used gold because there's some gold in this napkin, and it's be great for Christmas. So I'm covering up those ripped spots with some gold, and I do cover it up with a little bit of gold paint afterwards too, that you'll see. Isn't that crackle gorgeous, guys? But there you can not really see that ripped, but I do cover that up with some more gold after, so you cannot see any of that white showing through, and a couple of other spots there too. But isn't that crackle gorgeous? I think it really dresses up these napkins even more. But do you see how shiny that polyacrylic made the coasters, guys? I don't want that, so I'm going to use that polyvine wood varnish again, and that polyvine wood varnish is in a dead flat. So once that ink was on there, guys, I did take them outside, spray them with that Rust-Oleum clear coat, and let that dry before I put my polyvine wood varnish on top here, because that will smear your ink if you don't let it dry, guys. So again, I put 3 or 4 coats of that polyvine wood varnish on there, and like I said, it's in the dead flat, so you don't get that sheen on your coasters. Now I have this grip there that I think it goes in your drawers and stuff. I picked this up at the dollar store, and I'm gluing this on the back so it doesn't scratch up your furniture. You can use, those little round stick-ons as well if you have some of those, but I thought this would be better for the tile. I thought maybe some of those stick-on pieces might come off that tile. So I tried 2 different ways of applying the hot glue on this tile. And use your finger protectors, guys, because this glue is very, very hot. So this is what I did with the second one. I just applied the glue on the top, put my backing there in place, and then I applied the glue on the coaster. A little bit of out of frame there, guys. I'm sorry about that, but you get the gist of what I'm doing there. And then this project is done. So this is what they look like before, and now this is what they look like. This is a great gift idea, guys. Well, gift for yourself or for a family or friend. But aren't they gorgeous? And isn't that gold crackle gorgeous? And I outlined the sides in that gold paint. I love these guys. So I hope these projects gave you some inspiration today. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these and which one was your favorite. Don't forget to give me a like and hit that subscribe button and notification bell, guys. And I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of this reveal. Bye. Today I'm going to be showing you how I upcycled some jars that I had in my recycling and made them over into vintage style Christmas gift jars. You can put a gift in there, you can put some cookies in there, or you can just use them for your Christmas decor. So as you can see, I've got a cocoa jar here first that I'm going to make over. So I'm going to start by painting this jar. Now this is paper on top, so I didn't put anything else on here to help this paint stick, but now when it's plastic, you're going to need to put something on the jar to make it stick. So I gave that few coats of paint to cover up that print on the jar. Now I'm using this mold here, Snowflake mold that I got from a garage sale. I'm putting some cornstarch in here so the clay doesn't stick. I'm using paper clay here. And I do have some IOD snowflake molds now. And these molds here, I believe, are for, I don't know, cookies or soap or something like that. So they're not very firm. They're really flexible. But the snowflake came out okay. And I made it, you know, a lot less flatter than what the mold is here. So I'm going to glue this snowflake on my jar. And you're going to want to put something on each side because the heaviness of that clay is going to make it want to go to the side. So I'm just putting my glue on, going to set that in place and let that dry on there. Now you can put some hot glue on here as well just to make it stick right away. So I'm just kind of smearing that around to get full coverage of the snowflake, putting it in place. And now I'm going to let that dry. So isn't that beautiful, guys? And like I said, I do have some IOD mold snowflakes now. And if you want to see me use those in a project, you can watch my snowman sign video. And I'll put that in the description box if you'd like to see that. Just brightening up my camera here. Now I'm using these sponge stamps here that I picked up at the thrift store. I think I got this whole bunch there, as you see to the side, for like $1. And so you can use these on craft like this. You can put them on Christmas cards or let your kids use them for crafts, for paper crafts. But I'm using it on the bottom here. These stamps here are trees. And I'm putting a red all the way around the bottom. And then I'm going to use some of the other snowflake stamps there that you see that I pulled out all over different areas of the jar. Now, guys, you're going to want to let this ink dry before you see me do this next step, which is to put some wax on to darken this piece up. So I like the red there. It's tying in nicely with the lid on the jar, but like I said, I'm going to darken this up to make it look more vintage. So I'm using some gold ink to put some snowflakes all around the rest of the jar. I actually only put a few on, and you'll see me later add some more after I've put some of the wax on. And usually you would do that before you put the wax on, but it worked out okay. So just making it look more vintage and more Christmassy here. So here I am putting a white wax with some brown acrylic paint, just mixing that together to darken up this jar. And like I said, that's going to make the piece look more vintage. So I'm giving that a good mix, and then I'm going to use a cloth and a brush to apply that. And like I said, guys, you're going to want to make sure your ink is really dry before you start doing this process. I think that bottom portion of my ink there with the trees going all around, I don't think it was completely dry, and the piece kind of looks like a chocolatey pink color, but I think that makes it look more vintage actually, and you'll see how it looks in the end. So stay till the end to see how all these jars turn out, guys. So here I'm just brushing on the brown wax that I've mixed up here, kind of on the edges, making it look darker on the top and bottom edges, and then just spreading it all over in the middle. So here I'm just using some white wax on its own, and I'm just softening up all of that brown wax that I've put on there. So I'm just softening it up all over, and once I have the white wax on there, I'm just going to put some gold acrylic paint on that snowflake. That's going to bring out all that detail of the snowflake and make it look more beautiful. Then once I put the gold paint on the snowflake to bring out all the detail, I'm going to put some sparkle, white sparkle all over the snowflake and on portions of the jar. So here, as you can see, I didn't think I had enough snowflakes all over this jar, so I added some more gold snowflakes. And like I said, you would usually do this before you put your wax on, but I thought I'm just going to give it a try anyway and see if it sticks, and it did. And make sure you don't have any ink on the outside edges of your stamp there, guys, or you're going to get that square kind of look. So that's what it looks like with the stamps all over. So now I'm applying that gold acrylic paint, and then I'll apply the sparkle. Doesn't that sparkle look awesome, guys? Now you see that red ink kind of looks more muted now, it looks more vintage. Now right here I am cutting out a circle of some snowflakes to kind of match the snowflake that I put on the jars. And I'm going to glue that on that lid, and that's going to tie in nicely with the rest of the snowflakes on the jar. And I do take some antiquing wax and apply it on the paper just so it ties in with all the wax that I put on the jar, and that's going to make the lid look more vintage as well. And once again, guys, stay till the end so you can see how all these beautiful jars turned out. They look amazing. So these are the next couple of jars I have here, guys. These are plastic. One's a mayo jar, and the other one, I think there was some icing in that one. So this is a Fusion Ultra Grip. Now, guys, if you were going to paint this, which was what I was originally going to do, you would apply that Fusion Ultra Grip so your paint sticks to your plastic jar. So you would apply the Fusion Ultra Grip, let it dry, and then apply your paint. But I went a different route, and I thought I'm going to decoupage these. So I got these beautiful Christmas tree napkins. And if you haven't seen my last video, guys, where I do a reverse decoupage on a plate with these beautiful Christmas tree napkins, I'll leave that in my description box as well. Or you can go back and watch that video, and they turned out so beautiful. So I'm going to apply this napkin all around my jar, and make sure you get all plies off your napkins, guys, or your project is going to mess up. It's going to bubble up. And I've said that in previous videos too, but just for anyone new watching, I want them to know that detail. So make sure you get all your plies off. Some of the napkins I get from the dollar store, which these are from the dollar store, are only 2-ply, but sometimes when you order them online, they're 3-ply. Most of them are 3-ply. So you're going to want to get all the plies off. So I'm applying my Mod Podge, and I'm smoothing it out with my disposable disposable shower cap that I have here. And got some fire trucks going by here, so if you hear that sirens in the background, guys, that's what it is. So once I have all my Mod Podge on there and smooth it out, I'm trimming off that excess that napkin that's left over, and I'm smoothing it out with my plastic here. And then I'm cutting off the edges, and I'll smooth that out later. So this mayo jar here, I'm applying this beautiful Christmas deer and snowflake napkin, and once again I'm smoothing it out with my disposable shower cap. And the reason I use that, guys, is because it's a really soft plastic. So you can use a plastic bag as well, or saran wrap. But I like this because it's really soft plastic, and it's less likely to rip my napkin. So you're gonna, when you're smoothing that out, you're gonna want to go lightly. Don't go too hard because you're gonna rip your napkin. Again, I'm trimming off the excess napkin. I'm gonna smooth that edge out, and then I'm gonna cut the bottom off the jar and let that dry. And then I'm going to come back in and give those bottoms a sanding and smooth out those edges. Now, guys, you see that I applied some of my Mod Podge here before I cut the edge off. Don't do that. Cut your edge off and then apply your rest of your Mod Podge on the edge, and then smooth it out. So right here, I'm cutting it off, and I just let those set and let them dry, guys. And then I am sanding those edges off and smoothing it out. And then I'm going to apply my top coat of Mod Podge on both of these jars, and then let that dry. Now I'm trying putting Mod Podge on the lid here to put these fabric pieces on top. And I got these at the Dollarama, guys. So if you're viewers from the States, I did not get these at the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure if the Dollar Tree has these. I'm just filling out my little tag there, and then the package comes with elastics and tags. So I have 3 different colors of, what do you call these things? Anyway, lid toppers, fabric lid toppers. That's what I'm calling them right now because I don't know what they're called. If you know, leave me a comment. And I'm doing, now I didn't put any Mod Podge on the top of this one. I just put the red lid, and this is going to match the jar. Filled out that little tag with Merry Christmas, and this is what this one looks like, but stay tuned till the end to see what they all look like together. And this is a breadcrumb jar that I had, guys. Very sturdy cardboard jar there, so I just painted that up, and paper paint's really nice. You don't need to put anything on there to make that paint stick. I'm using a homemade chalk paint here, guys, and if you haven't made homemade chalk paint, it's a lot cheaper than buying it. So I've made a video on that, so if you want to watch that, go ahead and in my description box and click on that video, and you'll see how to make that and save yourself some money. So again, I am using this little Christmas mold here that I found at a garage sale as well, and I'm just using some dollar store clay here, guys. I think I got this at the Dollar Tree, and it's not white, but that's okay because I'm going to be painting this jar again. I'm going to be painting those trees. So I'm going to be putting 3 clay trees on the bottom. I was going to put one of those little wreaths there that you see, but I decided against it. I thought I'd put 3 of those trees. Try saying that 3 times, guys. That's a tongue twister. So 3 trees on the bottom, and I'm just putting glue all over there. You can use some hot glue with this glue mixture as well if you want them to stick right away. And so I put that on there, put a couple of jars in between that jar so it doesn't move around. And once that clay is dry, then I do my painting. I paint this white all over. I give the jar paint again, and I paint those trees white, as you'll see coming up here. So the clay is dry now, and I'm just giving the whole jar a coat of white paint again. So once that's dry, I'm using the trees again on the bottom, going around the trees. Now this ink was a really bright green, and I should have used a darker green, but I already had it down, so I went with it, and I'm going to darken it up with some dark wax again, so that'll make that less brighter. And guys, as you can see, I painted the trees a hunter green, and I put some tape around the top, and I'm going to make a grain sack stripe using that same hunter green. I don't know what I did with the footage where I painted those trees, if I lost it or put it in another file, but as you can see, I painted it green. And that edging on the grain sack stripe was a little, had a little bleed through, so I just touched it up with some white paint, and then I applied some dark wax around the whole jar, and then some white wax on those trees, and then I put that dark wax along the bottom of that really bright Christmas tree to darken it up. Now I'm using some IOD stamps here, guys, to spell out the word joy. Now this, like I said, you'll want to do before you put your wax on, but I thought the jar needed something else after I had it all waxed up. So I tried it anyway, and I inked it up. My O was coming off here, so I just put that on there after. Once this ink was dry, guys, I used some dark wax, combination of white wax and brown paint, that I mixed up, and I darkened up the whole jar again to make it look more vintage. And this is what all the jars look like before, guys. So if these gave you inspiration, give this video a like and a comment. I hope you guys will create some of these for your own Christmas gifts. I'm using them to hold cookies and to give as gifts. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of these. Thanks so much for sharing some of your time with me today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.